Good day. Today we look at John chapter 14. In John 14, Jesus comforts his disciples and reveals significant spiritual truths about his identity and mission. So, let's see how we can get to know Jesus better in this chapter. Number 1, we see Jesus as the comforter in John 14 verse 1 to 4. The chapter begins with Jesus comforting his disciples who are troubled by his imminent departure. He tells them in John 14 verse 1, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." Here, Jesus positions himself as equal with God, worthy of their faith and trust. He assures them that he is going to prepare a place for them in his Father's house and that he will come back to take them to be with him. This promise highlights Jesus' role as a comforter and the eternal hope he offers us. Number 2, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life in John 14 verse 5 to 7. When Thomas expresses confusion about knowing the way to where Jesus is going, Jesus responds with one of the most important statements in the gospel. He said, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." John 14 verse 6. This declaration emphasizes that Jesus is not merely a teacher or a prophet, but the exclusive path to God. Jesus embodies the truth of God's revelation and offers the life that comes from God. This highlights the centrality of Jesus in salvation and in understanding divine truth. Thirdly, Jesus is the revelation of the Father in John 14 verse 8 to 11. Philip asks Jesus to show them the Father, prompting Jesus to reveal a very important truth. He says in John 14 verse 9, "Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father." Jesus explains that he is in the Father and the Father is in him, meaning his words and works are directly from the Father. This mutual indwelling highlights Jesus as the perfect revelation of God. To see Jesus is to see God, making Jesus the ultimate revelation of God's nature and his will. Number 4, Jesus promises the Holy Spirit in John 14 verse 15 to 17 and verse 26. Jesus promises the coming of the Holy Spirit, whom he calls the advocate or helper. He says, "And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth." John 14 verse 16 to 17. The Holy Spirit is described as the one who will teach and remind the disciples of everything Jesus said in John 14 verse 26. This promise ensures that Jesus' presence and teachings will continue through the Spirit, providing guidance, truth, and comfort to believers. Number 5, Jesus is the giver of peace in John 14 verse 27. In a world filled with turmoil, Jesus offers a distinct kind of peace. He says, "My peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." John 14 verse 27. The peace Jesus provides is not dependent on external circumstances, but rooted in his presence and assurance. This peace dispels fear and anxiety, anchoring believers in the security of Jesus' promises and love. 6. Jesus' obedience to the Father are seen in John 14 verse 28 to 31. Jesus concludes the chapter by reaffirming his obedience to the Father, even unto death. John 14 verse 31 says, "I love the Father and do exactly what my Father has commanded me." This obedience is a model for his disciples, showing that true love for God is expressed through obedience to his commands. Jesus' submission to the Father's will, even in the face of suffering, exemplifies the ultimate act of love and faithfulness. So what spiritual truths can we learn here? First of all, have faith in Jesus. Trusting Jesus is foundational for peace and comfort. Secondly, Jesus is the only way to God, embodying divine truth and life. Number 3, Jesus reveals the Father perfectly. To know Jesus is to know God. Number 4, the Holy Spirit continues Jesus' work, guiding and teaching believers. Number 5, true peace is found in Jesus, and it transcends worldly troubles. Lastly, love for God is demonstrated through obedience to his will. And so in summary, John 14 places Jesus at the center of the disciples' faith, hope, and future. It reassures believers of his eternal presence, his unique role as the mediator to the Father, and the ongoing work of the Holy Spirit. Through this chapter, we are invited to deepen our trust in Jesus, embrace his peace, and live out our love for God through obedience. God bless you.